Shon-Jhon, aka the Middleman CEO. I hope wherever you're watching this from that this tremendously blesses you. So I'm trying to find a good video way that we can watch is something that's really cool. I guess we'll just go with the original. And but anyway, I hope that this video and this content blesses you. I'm gonna do my best to teach you some things that I know about money and finances, and I hope and pray that in some amazing way that this does indeed bless you and it does indeed change your life. If you are new to the channel, do me a huge favor. How huge? Very huge. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way, every day or anytime that I drop new content like this, you will be the first to know about it. So do that huge favor. Also, if you don't mind, smash the thumbs up, consider subscribing. That way, YouTube's going to share this video and this content with other people just like you who need this. And so I've been in a position where I needed information like this, and I wasn't able to get it because it was years ago. But now you guys are so blessed because you get channels like this. I think YouTube is better than college. I think YouTube is the new college. In fact, you can come to YouTube, learn almost anything, and you're going to be good without going $100,000 in debt. And so hit subscribe, hit thumbs up. Welcome to the channel. Again, I'm your middleman CEO, Shon-Jhon. And if you're on this channel, or if you're a member of this channel, or if you're thinking about subscribing to this channel, listen, this channel is about teaching you to think differently when it comes to finances. And this channel is about helping you to create some type of alternative income away from your job. So whether a side hustle, some other business, a middleman business like myself, whatever, doesn't matter. I just want you to learn to make money when you're not at work. And the third thing it's meant to do is to give you back your life, meaning give you back your time. I don't know if you know, but time's the most valuable thing you got in this world. It's the only thing you're running out of and you can never get back. You could lose your job, get your job back. You could lose money, get your money back. You could lose your spouse, your dog, your cat, get them all back. But under no circumstances can you get your money back. You could even get your life back. You could be like I was when I was 5 years old. I flatlined, right? And because I was burned and I went into shock. I didn't know anything about, basically about trying not to go into shock. I was only a kid. And I was literally burning, fire touching my skin, still have the marks today to prove it. And fire is hot, I know that. So kudos to all the firemen who run into these fires. That's unbelievable to me. You won't know what I'm talking about unless you've been in it. And but anyway, I want to teach you, how to get your time back. You can be pronounced dead, revived, and still get your time back. I'm sorry, still get your life back, but you can never get your time back. And so when I talk about getting time back, I'm not talking about the time that's been passed, the time that's wasted away, that's gone. I'm talking about your future. And so we're going to talk about this. So if you don't know my story, 2017, the guy you're looking at today, it's going to be hard to believe, but here you go. I was homeless, right? So you can ask my wife. We didn't have our young kids then, but you could ask my wife. When she met me, I was homeless and nowhere to live. And I did a great job of kind of not letting her see that because we lived in different states. So I lived in Louisiana, she lived in Mississippi. And so we were able, and not like my first day, like towards the end, right? Like my last month we were dating and I was homeless, and she didn't know it until after I eventually told her, when we got a little more serious and I got some stability. I thought if I told my wife that I was homeless, she wouldn't want to be my wife, right? So it's a crazy story. I'll tell you guys about it one day. But I drove from Baton Rouge to Biloxi, where she was in Mississippi, about an hour and a half. And I got down there and I was like, oh, yeah, you're going to be my girlfriend. And she was like, let me get back to you on that. I was like, what? I drove an hour and a half? And now you want to tell me you're going to get back to me? But now I'm blessed. She's my wife, a gift from God, and I'm so thankful to have her. And so we just plan on having a great life going forward, because the one thing we do not know is how much time we have. So I'm always on you guys about Time. It's the most important thing, right? And by the way, if you didn't watch my other video that I dropped this morning, it's fire. I'm blushing because it's fire, but it's going to challenge the way you think about saving money. So I know I'm going to get a lot of harsh comments, a lot of negative feedback. I'm ready for it. I'm a big boy. Just be respectful. But I ain't going to say nothing else. Just go watch it. So if you're on here and you have a question or comment, congratulations, you got me live. So you can drop your question or comment now and I'll get to it. Otherwise, I'm just going to dive into this. So listen, 2017, homeless, struggle life, no money, lost my job. I used to be a blackjack dealer. So I was dealing blackjack, the game. So I worked in a casino, which is probably why I don't like the stock market. So I worked in a casino and I ended up losing my job. So I lost my job. Shortly after that, I was homeless. I was already behind on bills, paycheck to paycheck, lost my job in a bad spot. And next thing you know, I ended up getting evicted. And so once I got evicted, I left. So I had my truck. It wasn't much of a truck, but I had this old Mitsubishi Endeavor, and it was like a 2016 or whatever. And I had my truck. And so I came home. The eviction notice was on the door because what I started doing after I was homeless, I couldn't find another job. So I started going to these labor ready places. That's what we called them back in Baton Rouge. So I started going to these labor ready places and I would sit there 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 in the morning, and you would hope that you would get an assignment so you can go and make 30, 40, hopefully $50, right? And a lot of times I didn't even get an assignment. Sometimes I was fortunate to get it. And so, but I made some friends there, a lot of people in the struggle lane. Want to talk about the sadness of life. Trust me, it ain't healthy. And we were all there. And one day I got a job with a guy who I grew up with, his younger brother. And so we had that in common. We talked about his brother and whatnot. And he was like, so he rode a bike up there. I had my truck. And he was like, man, I'm having issues with my bike. I think he had a flat or something like that. And you might be thinking that's not a real issue, but it is when that's all you have. And so he was like, the guy's name was Ernesto, and you don't know him because you don't live in Baton Rouge. And so Ernesto was like, hey, where are you going to eat at? And I'm looking down at my check because it's got like $32 because I worked my shift, but because I had to borrow boots and like borrow gloves from the place that hired me, the labor place, I had to pay all that back. And that sucks. So my check went from like $50 to $32 for a day's work. Sad. And this was 2017. So I was like, man, I can't, if I go buy a Happy Meal, I'm cutting into my money, right? And so he was like, hey, look, if you give me a ride, I know a place we could get some food. Say less, right? And so I was like, man, get in because I don't have much gas. So I was like, where are we going? I got enough gas to go find a park to sleep in and be back here in the morning. And he was like, hey, go to this place by this church or something like that. So we ended up going downtown to Baton Rouge. And there was this like a day kitchen or soup kitchen or whatever they call them. And like at certain times during the day, they would feed people who needed food. And so we got in line. If you think about like Will Smith's movie, Pursuit of Happiness, that's how it was. And so he and I jumped in line. I felt bad because there were people behind us. I was like, man, I feel bad. At least I have $30. These people probably don't have anything. And so we got in, they had spaghetti that day. Boy, I'm talking about is the best spaghetti meal I've ever eaten. And until this day, and we got that. And then I dropped him off. He went wherever he was going and I went to find a place to sleep. So I had my truck for a couple of months. I was homeless for 3 months. I had my truck for 2 months. And one night I was sleeping while I was looking for a place to sleep. And I remember it vividly. And I came to this stop. I could call out the streets, but you wouldn't know it. I came to the stop and I was about to make a right. And I could see this cop behind me. So I'm really nervous. And so I make the right turn. And the cop follows me for like a couple of blocks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this major anxiety. And then all of a sudden, his lights come on, flashes come on. I'm like, oh no, right? He doesn't turn the sirens on. But he turns the flashes on, right? And this is the night. This is the middle of the night. And so I pull over. I still remember where I was. I was at the East Baton Rouge school board parking lot. And if you go back on the cameras from all them years, if they have that footage, you'll see me, right? And so young cop, he and I, he came up, he was like, hey, you got your license? I was like, here. He was like, you got insurance? I was like, man, I don't even want to waste your time. I got no insurance, no anything, because I didn't have any money. And I was just trying to get by, right? And he and I talked, and he did the light thing, and he went to the truck, and he was like looking in through the truck, and he was like, man, where you living? And I could tell that he knew that I was living there. And he was like, where are you living? I was like, well, right now I don't really have a place. And he was like, you got anybody you can go to, call? I was like, not really. And he was like, man, and this was exact words. He was like, man, I hate to do this to you. And as soon as he said that, I knew what he was talking about. That he was going to tow my truck. He was going to tow the truck that I was living in. And so the guy said, he said, man, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to tow the truck. And at the time, listen, I was broken. Like I had a little bit of fight in me, but as soon as he said, I'm going to tow the truck, I was devastated, because you might think that sleeping in your truck is bad or it's the worst thing that could happen. But no, it can get worse if you lose that truck. And so I had been sleeping in my truck for 2 months. This is my first 2 months of being homeless. And I was sleeping in my truck for 2 months. And when the cop took the truck away that night, he didn't take it, but he had to call it in. There was no insurance. And he said, man, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to tow the truck. And I was devastated, because that meant a couple of things. It meant, number one, the only bed that I have, which is my front seat, is gone. I literally have nowhere to sleep. And number two, the only thing that I was able to take out of the house that I got evicted from, the only things because you cannot take furniture when you get evicted. You can if you have somewhere to put it. I had nowhere to put it. No storage, no anything. I had no money. And you can only take what you can fit into your vehicle. Thankfully, I even had a vehicle. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to take much of anything, just what I can carry. And so he called for the tow truck. They came out, hooked the truck up. The tow truck guy didn't say anything to me. I could tell he knew the situation. And if I was on the other side, I would have been heartbroken for that person too. But unfortunately, in this case, I was the person. And so the tow truck guy hooked it up, and then the cop was talking to the tow truck. I still remember this. The cop was having a conversation. They were doing whatever they had to do. And then the cop walked over to me. He said, hey, he's going to give you a couple minutes to get anything you can get out of here. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what can I take? These are all my clothes, my underwear, my t-shirts, my deodorant, toothbrush, whatever I can get. I even had a towel. It's like, this is it, man. I don't know what I could take. So I opened it up. I had a backpack, and I just packed t-shirts and like underwear in a backpack. I put deodorant. I put my lotions. I put toothbrush and a couple of shirts. I think I had like some pajama pants and then like some wind pants. I put that in there. And the sack couldn't even close. I was trying to fit my whole life into this backpack. And so I got it zipped up, I closed it, and I just threw it on my back. And he was like, so the cop asked me, he was like, man, is there anywhere you need to go? Can you call somebody or blah, blah, blah? And I was like, I got nobody, and I got nowhere to go. And I didn't want my problem to become his problem, because at the time I was like, man, you could have spared me. You could have let me go with a warning. But looking back, the cop did the right thing, as much as it hurted them, because I could have gone out, gotten into an accident, or I could have hit someone or anything, and then with no insurance, no right to be driving, and it would have been his fault. And so I do understand that, right? But I wasn't that mature back then. I wasn't feeling good about it, right? I wanted my truck. And so I took off walking, and this is how quickly the blessing happened to me. And you might not call it a blessing, but to me it was a blessing, because I was going to be living outside. I was going to have to find somewhere to sleep. And so I was thinking, where can I sleep? There's a park up here, If the bathroom doors are open, that's where I'm staying. And so I walk to the park because public parks in Louisiana close at dusk, right? So as soon as the sun goes down, everybody's got to be outside out of the parks. And there's no lights or anything like that. You got to be out, right? And so I went to the park. I was like, let me check this bathroom. So I checked the bathroom, the men's bathroom locked, checked the women's, it was open. So I went inside, locked it from the inside so nobody could get in, and laid down on that hard concrete floor. So I don't complain about beds. And I used the backpack as a pillow and I just laid there, right? And that was a sad night because I didn't know where I was going, but I knew in my heart of hearts I didn't belong there. I knew somehow I had made some bad decisions that got me here. There were some things I did wrong that got me here. I wasn't put here. Somehow, some things I did or didn't do led me to this place. And there I was, homeless, sleeping in a public restroom. And that's how I lived. And then shortly after that, I ended up going to this apartment complex, and I found an apartment that was under renovation. Turned the lock and the door open. So I started staying there, leaving early in the morning, coming late at night so I don't get in trouble. And that's the last place I was living before I finally got my own place. Now, how did I get my own place? I started moving people, helping them load boxes and stuff. I didn't know what to do, but I used to work for a moving service, and the only thing that I knew how to do was like help people move load boxes. So I got on Craigslist one day and I was like, if anybody need help, let me know. Somebody responded, I made money, and I kept going because I couldn't go back to the labor place. I had no ride. And there was no guarantee you get work. So this lady hired me, went out, helped, made $40. She also gave me like a bunch of leftover food. And I just kept going, kept jumping on the bus, the city transportation, getting the jobs. And then by the end of the month, I had about $500. So I was like, hey, I got to turn this up. I got to keep going so I can make more money. Shortly after that, I had like $2,000, right? I didn't have a bank account. I didn't even have a place to stay. And then when I got the $2,000, I had enough to do a deposit and got myself off the street. So within like 30 days, I had found I'll call it a cheap apartment or a place to stay, but it was rough. Gunshots, people breaking in. Somebody broke in my apartment 3 times. Now, granted, I don't even have anything, and they were breaking into my apartment, and it was my neighbors. I knew it was, right, because I kind of found out, right, by planting a seed. And because I told one of the guys, I was like, yeah, man, every time I leave, somebody breaks into my apartment, but I don't have much and I said, they're breaking in, but they can't find my stuff. I hid my television. I was like, yeah, I hid my television in the closet so they can't find it. And I did that. And this is a true story. When I left, they broke in again and then went upstairs into the closet. So I knew who it was. Now I couldn't confront them because they were the worst of the worst, right? Like criminals. And so, but I knew who it was, and I didn't have anything. So that made everything tough. And so eventually I started saving up money, started working harder, moving people, and making a little more money. Got myself some transportation, got myself a car. It was a little blue Volvo, I still remember it. And that's all I had. But that is how I ended up homeless, because I had one job. And when I lost that job, I had nothing, right? I had nothing left to rely on. Nothing at all. And then in just a short amount of time, I lost everything, right? And so I teach you guys to have some savings. Just don't focus on saving a bunch of money, right? I always say if you have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, that's really all you need in savings. Enough to like cover your rent, to give you a month or two to get back. That's all you need. That would have helped me, but I had no money. And so I'm saying this to share with you guys. There are some things that I did, some mistakes that I made that led me into being homeless. And if you're not careful, it could be you, because people are going from having a place to live to homelessness almost overnight. There are so many homeless people now. There are homeless communities. There are homeless parks, homeless villages, right? And so please, for the, for the love of God, please don't ever say that you don't need money. You need money in this world. I promise you. The homeless person that's standing on the corner, what are they asking for? And they're already homeless and they're already asking for money. So don't for a second think that this couldn't happen to you. Don't for a second think that you can't be homeless. And you don't have to be living on the streets. You could just have to downgrade. Some of you went from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom in the past couple of years, from a 2 to a 1, from a 1 to a studio, from a studio to back home. So please don't take this message for granted. It can happen to you. Yes, it can happen to me again. So I try to prevent that. I try to share with you some things that you can use so you don't have to experience that. Learn from me. It ain't fun, right? Nobody's on Instagram posting how homeless and how struggling they are, right? You don't want that to be you. That's why I always encourage you. I always hammer this point. You cannot afford to keep your job if it is your only source of income. You can't afford your job. It's costing you too much. Because if anything happens to that one job, because you haven't done anything to create a second source of income, everything happens to you. And so I'm just going to share a few things with you that might help you. Here are some things that I did that helped me to become homeless really quickly. You want to get in the homeless fast lane? Do these 3 things. I'm just going to give you 3. I could give you 10. But do these things and you'll end up homeless in no time if that's what you want. Or do these things and pretend that you'll never be homeless. Don't even think about that. And you'll still end up in a bad financial situation, right? So these things are important. By the way, if you have a question or comment, drop it. So let's talk about it. How did I end up homeless? One of the first things that got me in trouble is I always thought that time equals money. You say it a lot, you hear it a lot, everybody's talking about it. Time is money, time is money, time is money. Not true. Time is infinitely. How much? Infinitely. How much? Infinitely. Meaning you can't even measure it. More important than money. Money you can lose, get back and lose. Time you lose, it never comes back to you. So the first thing I want you to understand that'll help you to never be homeless. And again, you don't have to be homeless living on the streets. How about it'll help you to not have to downgrade your lifestyle? How about it'll help you to not lose everything and be financially struggling? How about it'll help you to keep yourself and your family out the struggle lane, off the struggle bus? The struggle bus ain't fun, y'all. I used to drive it. I didn't just ride it, I drove it. So listen to me. Time equals money. That got me into a lot of trouble because when I thought about that, the only thing that crossed my mind is how to sell my time, a lot of my time, to get a little bit of money on this thing called a job. My focus was on how much time do I have. There was a time right after I got my place and I got my even thinking about that apartment makes me scared. It makes me think somebody's gonna break in here, right? And right after I got that apartment and that car, I was, let's see. So I was working 3 jobs. So I was working at Macy's, still remember. And then after Macy's, I was working at this place called Ryan's. You might not remember Ryan's. It was like Golden Corral. It was like a seafood place. They had really good, not seafood, buffet place. They had really good bread. So I was working at Ryan's. I was working at Macy's. And at night, I was going to clean schools. So I was a janitor at night, not during the day when the kids were there, but after the day, I was working with this cleaning service temporarily. And then we would go spend like 2-3 hours cleaning classes. If y'all know what that is, somebody let me know in the comments if I'm doing a good job of explaining it. But I had 3 jobs. By the way, guys, let me know where you guys are watching from, city and state. Drop it if you don't mind. I always like to know where everybody's watching from. So I'm doing this from Dallas. I used to live in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, but now I live in Dallas. And I was working those 3 jobs. I was working at Ryan's, doing like serving for tips. I was working at Macy's like 6 in the morning to about noon. I was doing signs. So you know how the sales signs and stuff are up. I was doing that. I was exhausted. I was asleep a lot of times. And then at night, I was doing like cleaning classrooms. I had 3 jobs, all part time, still struggling. And so you don't want to be in that position. But the reason I was doing that is because I thought time was money. So every time I had extra time, I would sell it for money. I had no Fridays, no Saturdays, no Sunday. All of it was for sale. I literally sold my whole life. Any free time I had when I wasn't sleeping, you could buy it from me. $10 an hour, I'm there. $12 an hour, I'm there. Right? I even had a job where I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week uh, for this company. And I was so worn out. I used to sleep on the job. They didn't even fire me. I was burned out. And plus, nobody was stupid enough to take the job except me. Right? Lucky me. And they came in. I was making like $12 an hour. They came in and cut me down to $9 an hour. Saved themselves money, made themselves money, hurt me. But because I wasn't in a good financial position, I had to take the loss. Right? I still hate that to this day. So time equals money. If your only source of income is a job, then you're focused on trading time for money. If you want to be homeless and be in a struggle fast lane, continue to trade your time for money on this thing called a job. Guarantee you can get to being homeless very quickly, because the reason I say that is because if anything happens to this job, you too can be homeless. Right? Another thing, I don't know if my marker's having issues or what. Another thing that got me into trouble, every time I got a paycheck or every time I got income tax check, like the government would pay me for being poor, because you know that's really what it is, right? You didn't make enough money to sustain yourself by government standards, so they actually give you money back to help you, right? So for most people, when you get income tax, that means you didn't make enough money. And for other people, you get a return. You probably got a business or you probably invested in stuff like that. But for most, and I know for me, I wasn't making enough money. So what I would do is every time the government gave me a paycheck, like I remember one year I got like a $3,500 tax return. What did I do? I went out and bought stuff. I was consumer minded. Think about it. When the government gave most of you a stimulus check, what did you do? Did you invest? No. Did you buy books? No. Did you get courses? No. Get training, start a business? No. What'd you do? You bought something. Same thing I was doing. You're guilty like me. So I would go out and buy liabilities like a big screen TV. I bought that, right? I would go buy the big screen TV. I would go buy shoes, clothes, stuff like that. All these things are liabilities. Yes, I know you need them, but still understand that they're liabilities. They're things that don't make you money. They take you money. They don't make you money. They take you money. They don't make you money. Bad grammar, good teaching. Okay. So I bought liabilities, things that take money out of my pocket and do not put money back into my pocket. So sure, I got a big television, but I just lost $1,000 on that. Not good. You're headed towards homelessness. If these are things you practice, you can be homeless by tomorrow, right? If you continue to think that your only way to make money is trading time for money on a job, you could be homeless by tomorrow, right? And so make sure that you understand that if you're consumer minded and you just go out and spend everything you get, ouch, right? And the last thing I'll leave you with, again, I can give you a lot, but I don't want to take up all your time. I appreciate you guys being here. The last thing I'm going to give you is that led me on the path to being homeless. One income. One income. What does that mean? That means I had one way of making money. So I would trade my time for money on a job for one income. And then when you pay me, I go buy liabilities. Where does this lead me to? Homelessness. Money mismanagement, right? One source of income. Continue to thinking that the only way I can make money is by selling time. The one thing I'm running out of led me to being homeless. So if you have one source of income, Congratulations, you could be homeless tomorrow. Now, of course, I'm being facetious. Of course, I don't want that to happen to you the way it happened to me. Please don't let that happen to you. So, one source of income puts you in a financial bind, because if you lose that one source of income, you got no other way of making money, right? So, what I want you to do is to get, I'll just put another income. I don't want you to have one source of income. I want you to have multiple if you need, but at least one more source of income. And the reason I want you to have another source of income is just in case something happens to your primary income, your secondary income kicks in. And so again, guys, I just want you to understand that I didn't volunteer to be homeless. I didn't wake up and ask to be homeless. I damn sure didn't pray to be homeless. But there were some things I did wrong that helped me to become homeless. There are some mistakes I made financially that put me in a really tough financial spot, financial purgatory, and my financial conscience was fast asleep. And so I don't want this to happen to you. That's why I always say, here's this channel is warning you. This is when there's tornado warnings here, you hear the sirens. This channel is a siren to not just you, but to everybody you know, to say, hey, this is a wake-up call. We are in some hard times. I don't know if you know, but gas prices go from $2 to $3 overnight, out of your control, but your car can't run without it. So you got to have it. Food prices through the roof. Don't even try to buy bacon, right? These must be some expensive pigs, but you got to have food. I know 2 years ago, $100 fill your basket. $100 today, 2 bags. You can probably put it in the little hand cart. Let me tell you something. If you sit around and you think money is not something that you must have to live this life, you're wrong. Get out of the mindset. Wake up, pinch yourself, stop that dreaming. Wake up and say, wait a minute. If I want to live the life I want to live, just like Shon-Jhon said, or some random guy on YouTube said, I need to make more money. I'm clutching every dollar I get, saving it in the bank. Bank's making money. I'm going broke. Right? I'm saving money to buy a house, and half the people that are telling me to buy houses are house broke. No freedom. I got a friend right now. He was doing a certain job. I'm not going to put him on blast. You don't know him, but he's doing a certain job, living in my neighborhood. The average house in this neighborhood is $550,000. Beautiful neighborhood, master plan, communities, golf, boat center where you can rent boats and sail boats. It got everything. I love where I live. Even though I was homeless in 2017, I love where I live now. But there are people even in this neighborhood where homes can go as high as $3 million in my neighborhood. And there are people back here they're not probably in those homes, but are still like, hey, I got to go find a job. I got to get some more money. And I just keep saying, hey, wake up. You got to have money. Even the homeless person who doesn't have any bills are on the corner asking for money. You got to have money in this life. Don't run away from the idea or the fact that, hey, it takes money to enjoy life. It does. Be nice if it didn't, but it does. So I'm not telling you, you got to be a millionaire to enjoy life. That's not true. I know they talk about it a lot on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube and all that, and that's cute, but it doesn't take that. You could literally make $50,000 a year and be free, enjoy your life. That's why I don't teach you how to get rich. I don't teach you that. I don't even make $1 million a year. I wish I did. Maybe one day I will. But even with my middleman business, $350,000 a year for this year ain't bad. That's not bad. It's not $1 million. But the difference is I'm free. So I don't teach you guys how to be rich. I teach you guys how to be free. Does that make sense? I just want you to be free, because what I understand and you might not understand, and having money is a great thing, don't get me wrong. But if you have money and you don't have time, you got nothing. Remember, time equals money is the poor man's way. You got to use money to buy back time. Let me show you an example. I'll prove to you that you can be free and you don't have to be rich. Follow me on this. Let me get a marker that I know is going to work. Follow me on this, and then I'm out of here. By the way, I'm teaching a free live training. Listen to me. Free live training on Zoom. All you have to do is have Zoom. All you have to do is comment middleman in the comments, and you'll get a free invite. Please, please, please take advantage of this. If you give me about 45 minutes, that's all I need. I'm going to teach you what I do, how to build your own middleman business from your phone without having to go to work, without having to leave your house, and do whatever you want to do with your time. It's not going to make you a millionaire. Maybe in the future, if you do it well enough, you can, and that's great. But I'm not trying to teach you how to be a millionaire. I'm trying to teach you how to make money and be free. So if you want to learn how to do that, put middleman in the comments and give me about 40, 45 minutes. I'm going to teach you how to start your own middleman business. I have people right now, their first month after training, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in the first month. Not bad. Not going to make you rich again, but it will make you free. And I'll show you real quick and then I'll let you go. By the way, if you have a question or comment, drop it now so I can see it because I'm not going to be on here long. Here we go. Let's say, I just want to show you something to show you that you don't have to be rich. You don't have to make millions. There's nothing wrong with being rich. I would love to. There's nothing wrong with making millions. I can't wait. But let me just show you something really, really simple to show you, prove to you that time's more important than money. And you don't have to make a lot of money to get back your time. Let me show you something. All right. So let's say you make $5,000 a month. We're going to go with $5,000 a month. That's it. Now, $5,000 a month is just $60K a year. Right? Let me ask you, is $60,000 a year rich? Is $60,000 a year make you a millionaire? No, not even close. Let's keep going. So you make $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year. Not bad. Let's say your expenses, we'll just put bills. Your bills, every bill you have, rent, phone, car, insurance, everyone, right? All of your bills, let's say all of your bills together with your food, your fuel, I'm talking about all your groceries, everything. All of your bills cost, we'll say, $5,000. Now, at $5,000, you're going to be living in a nice neighborhood because we don't want to live in the ghettos. No, we don't want that. We're not claiming that. We don't want that. Let's say all of your bills and the expenses of your entire life cost $5,000. Now, if you had a job, right? If you were getting this $5,000 on a job, that would cost you 160 hours per month. Right? So let's say you made $5,000 on a job, cost you 160 hours a month. See, I told you it takes time. So you're essentially selling the 160 hours in exchange for $5,000. Now here's the hard part. The $5,000 you're getting, it's not real. They have this thing that's called gross, and they have this thing that's called net. The gross is toast. That's what I say. It's not real. The net is what you get. That's the real money. So your gross is $5,000, but your net will be nice. It's $4,000. So all of a sudden, you're minus $1,000. You're making less than what your bills are each month. And now you're in trouble. This is how you go negative. You're negative $1,000. By the end of the year, you're negative 12K. And it just keeps adding up, and down here you go. That's a hard way to do it. Now, let's look at my way. And that is if you have to trade time for money. So in order to do this successfully on a job, if your bills are 5, you need to make 6 because the government's going to take their cut. The bills are going to take their cut. In fact, everybody's going to get paid before you get paid, and you did all the work. Now, let's switch it up. Let's say you don't make the $5,000 on a job. Let's say you're like me and you have a middleman business or a side hustle or some other business you do. But I'm just going to use my middleman business as an example. Let's say you make your bills are $5,000 a month. My bills are $5,000 a month, but I have a middleman business, not a job, right? So what happens? Number one, I get $5,000 a month. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, what is the gross? What is the net? That's the beauty of it. When I get my 5,000, I keep all of my 5,000, right? This is with a middleman company. And you're probably saying, well, Shon, what about taxes? The government wants to get paid. They do. But when you own a business, they don't tax your checks. They wait on you to pay them. So you might pay taxes twice a year, once a year, every quarter, whatever. It's up to you, right? But you can, let's say I owe the same 1,000 you owe in taxes. I'll just take the 1,000, promote my business with the 1,000 that I owe the government, and then write it off. So now I don't owe the government anything. So the conversation sounds like this. Hey, Shon, you owe us $1,000 for your business for the month. Oh, yeah, I do owe you, Mr. Government. But as a matter of fact, I used $1,000 because you said I can. I used it to promote and grow my business, right? So I was going to pay it to you, but I used it to grow my business, hire someone, get equipment and whatnot. And the government says, oh, okay, that's fine. You don't owe us anything. See, tax write-offs. You get a benefit just by even starting a business, right? So now I got the real, so I don't have to pay taxes. I got the real 5,000. Now, you trade 160 hours a week to get this 5,000, a month, I'm sorry. Here's what I do. I work 2 hours a day on my business. You do 160 hours in a month. I do maybe 40 in a month. See the difference? Look, you're working 4 times more than me, making the same amount of money. Now, the other part is you have to be, let's say, maybe at some type of office or on a job site. I can do this from home, really from anywhere. My job's on the phone, so it's mobile, wherever I want to be. I could be in Miami right now, sitting in the airport because I know it's going to be a layover, and I can still be making money because I only use my phone. So my middleman business makes me money using the phone. I don't have to be anywhere. I could go to Alaska, be in the mountains, and still make money. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. So 5,000 on a job is totally different than 5,000 in a business, right? So 5,000, 60K a year doesn't make you rich. But guess what? Because I'm only working 2 hours a day, maybe I do about an hour a day, but let's just be nice. 2 hours a day. Now you're working 40 hours instead of 160. That means you're a plus 120 hours. Remember what I told you to start this video, that your time is the most important thing. You make the same amount of money. You make 5,000 on your job. I make 5,000 on my business. It costs you 160 hours a month to do it. I only work 40 hours a month, so I make 120 hours back. Remember I told you the goal is not time is money. Money is time. Use money to buy the time back. So I don't have to do what you do. I get my 120 hours back, and I make the same money you make. What's the difference? I use a business to do it. You use a job, right? So I told you, if my bills are 5,000 a month and my business makes 5,000 a month, I'm free. I'm not rich. I'm free because it makes the money without me having to go to work, right? I hope this is making sense to somebody. Smash thumbs up if this is helping you at all. I really hope it is because I'm pouring my heart out. I'm trying to, boy, if I could just teach 10,000 people this. Oh God, just let me teach 10,000 people this. And I promise you, we're going to change generations. I promise you, we're going to change generations. Let me just teach 10,000 people how to do this, how to not always have to work for money. You can't pass your credit score down. I know it's cute. I know it's nice, but you can't pass that down. You can't pass your job down. Your kids can't inherit that. What they can inherit is a mindset of creating money outside of a job. Think about this. You guys work hard. I've worked hard. Wouldn't it be so much nicer if we can teach our kids to not have to work hard? Who is telling you that you always have to work hard to make a living? That's not true. That's why I put CEO on the name. So you can work as a CEO, function as a CEO, think and operate as a CEO. So if you want to learn how to buy your time back and make money, be free, not have to go to work every day, I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm telling you to create a second source of income so that one day soon you can quit your job. And so what I teach you guys, if you're coming to the training, please don't miss it. If you're coming to the training, the Zoom training, by the way, write middleman in the comments, you'll get the free link. If you don't get a link, that means we're full. But here's the training. I'm going to teach you 3 things. These are the only 3 things I do. I had a friend on the other day, and I was like, and he's a good friend. He's probably watching now. I was like, Jason, and he lives here in DFW, moved from Pittsburgh a couple years ago. And I'm like, Jason, he's on there and he's talking to people live on the video with me. And I said, Jason, just to be clear, do I do anything else to make money besides run my middleman business? And he said, that's all he does. That's all I do. And I don't want to do anything else. So I will teach you. If you meet me in the training, I would teach you these 3 things. These are the only 3 things that I know. These are the only 3 things that I do. And these are, these are the only, I like getting paid, is why I keep writing deposit. These are the only 3 things I know and do all day. So if you come to the training, I'm going to teach you 3 things. I'm going to teach you how to book, how to take a deposit, how to dispatch. I'm going to teach you the same thing that Uber does, same thing that Airbnb does, same thing that Tinder, the dating app, does, same thing that Lyft, Instacart, Uber Eats, all of those, Grubhub, they all do the same thing. They simply find a customer who needs a service. They connect the customer to the service. So Uber connects the rider to the driver. Airbnb connects the person who is the host to the person who needs a place to stay. Uber Eats, Instacart, all those connect the person who needs the groceries from the person who wants to go get it. They connect them, and then when a connection is made, they get paid. I call this gap pay or deposit commission if you learn it from me. So on average, I try to teach everybody to make at least $150 every time you do a deposit commission. So if you only get 2 of these a day, just 2 customers a day, that's $300. If you do 5 days a week, that's $1,500 a week, $6,000 for the month, and $72,000 for the year. Not bad, with only 2 customers each day, and all you do is use your phone to get paid. So I do this right now in the moving industry, in the cleaning industry, and you don't have to be where you do this. I live in Dallas. My cleaning company. I live in Dallas, and my cleaning company is in Jacksonville, Florida. I live in Dallas. My moving part is here because that's where I started. And now we're doing website design, which I can do all over the country. So anybody who needs a website design, I don't build websites. I just connect you to people that do. And when I do, I take a deposit from you and I'm paid. Make sense? Anyway, guys, I got to go. I got a lot to do today, but I enjoyed this. Hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. Please, please, please do not miss the live training. Be in it. Write middleman in the comments. You'll get an invite. If you do not get the invite, that means we are full because I'm limiting the amount of people that are there because I want to be able to teach everybody everything, and then I want to be able to do Q&A. So I don't want it to be overcrowded like it was before. But a lot of people are taking these steps, changing their lives, moving in the right direction. If you're somebody and you want financial freedom, you need to be in this training. If you're somebody and you know that your job is not safe, not loyal, and there's no security in it, and they can fire you any day, you need to be in this training. If you're somebody that's saying, hey, I am tired of the struggle life, tired of the struggle lane, I need to make money outside of my job, you need to be in it. And if you're somebody saying, you're right, I'm tired of selling my time for money, I want my time back, I want my freedom, like me, that's the call of an entrepreneur, I want my time back, then you need to be in this live training. Let me tell you something, I'll let you go. I'm blessed. From 2017 homeless to 2024, living the life that I want to live, enjoying life, freedom, money, time, lifestyle. I could go, my wife and I, we were having a conversation. By the way, my wife stopped working full time in January. We don't even need her paycheck anymore. My first year, 2020, I made $77,000. That's it, not bad. I didn't know what I was doing. You guys can learn from me so you can go faster. Here, fast forward this year, $350,000 is what I'm on pace to do. I'm thankful. But my wife stopped working in January. Well, she stopped working full time. She still goes from time to time because she enjoys what she does, but we don't need her paycheck. and she could take off whenever she wants to. We don't care, right? And she likes these Mercedes trucks. They're A something. I forgot what they're called. And they're beautiful, but they're like $130,000. And we were walking and talking in the neighborhood the other day. Think about this. This is a guy who was homeless in 2017 and just moved to Dallas in 2020. And so we were, by the way, if you're looking for a city to leave and you got to leave your city behind, DFW or really anywhere in Texas is awesome. And so we were talking and she was like, I really like that truck when it passed by. I was like, that's the one you're talking about? She was like, yes. And I was like, well, do you really want it? She was like, yeah, I think I do. And I was like, cool, go buy it. And to say that for 140, anywhere, I don't know, anywhere from like 120, 140, I guess depends on the upgrades, she can just go write a check and buy the truck. Because we're not going to finance it. We got the money to buy it. So we're not going to finance a liability. That ain't happening. And just to think of that is a blessing to be able to tell her to pretty much, I know it ain't a Lambo, it ain't a $400,000 Rolls Royce or something like that. I get it. It's just a $120,000, $130,000 truck, and that's fine. But for me, it's a big deal because I never imagined I would be able to do something like this. And now I never imagined that I won't be able to do it. That's the mindset shift. So anyway, from a guy who was homeless to living my best life now, I promise you, if you let me teach you how to do this, it'll help you too. Will it make you rich? I don't know. It depends on how hard you want to go and how fast you want to go. There's some things that I'm going to teach you that, hey, if you step on the gas, you can make a lot of money. Remember, the goal ain't to make $1 million a year. The goal is to make enough so you can fire your boss, quit your job, and only have your middleman business, and then have your time back, right? So from a guy who was homeless not long ago to living my best life today, being able to send my wife to a dealership if she really wants to do it, and go get a $120,000 vehicle, cash, or however they do it. She ain't gonna have cash, swipe a card or whatever. To me, that's a blessing and that's a win. And I just want to share it with you. So if you have a question or comment, drop it real quick. And if you let me teach you this, by the way, if you guys are wondering, because I get this question a lot, no, you don't have to be in the city that you open your business in. You do it over the phone so you can operate in any city, any state in America. My cleaning business, remember, is in Florida. I live in Texas, right? So I teach you how to do that, how to get customers, how to get paid, how to dispatch it to other people. Let them do the work. You get paid and go home, baby. That's how we want to live. That's freedom. If I got to book in and do the work, that ain't freedom. I may as well get a job. I'm booking and going fishing. I like to fish, right? And so learn how to get your time back by creating a second source of income, right? And so I just want to share with you, book, deposit, dispatch. I've been doing it for so long, it's programmed into my mind. And I wouldn't do anything else besides it. This is the only thing I want to do. I enjoy it, and I enjoy teaching it and seeing other people change their lives. Student texted me the other day. He was like, hey, my first deposit was $250. I was blown away because I only teach you to get about $150 per deposit. And this dude was $100 over that. So what a blessing. I talk to my students. I hang with them. I have conversations. I just got off of a Zoom meeting. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to be there every step of the way until your business becomes successful. You have that promise from me. So, but again, if you guys want to get the training, get into the training, write middleman in the comments. If you don't write it here, write it under any of my videos. You'll get the link. If you don't get it, we're already full and you're too late. So please, please, please don't be late. All right, I got to go, guys. See you on the next video, whenever that is. Stay blessed by the best. And listen, get your time back. Use your money to get your time back, okay? All right, guys. Peace.